It's 5 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the McCracken County Fiscal Court meeting, April 25, 2022. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Parker.
Here.
And Judge Clement.
Here. Commissioner Bartleman, you offer a prayer, please.
Let us pray. Pray. Father, we just thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the opportunity that we have to serve you through this means of serving on the fiscal court and the people of McCracken County. We pray you continue to be with us as we make decisions, and we just pray that you will give us guidance and direction, that all that we do will make life better for all those who live here. Father, we just pray for our first responders and just be with them as they perform their duties to keep the community safe. We just are so thankful for what they do and for their dedication to this community. Father, we're so thankful for what you do for us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I did, before we jumped into the agenda, I want to just mention that I traveled with Mayor Bray and Sandra Wilson and Dennis Rouleau, Dennis, the chair or the CEO, director of the airport, last week to the corporate headquarters of SkyWest in Utah. Had a meeting with the corporate head there. A very encouraging meeting, a very productive meeting, I think, and I'm not going to get into the details of what we talked about or what might come out of it, but I think we'll see more about that very soon, and I think we're in better shape than we were before, and had to just, it's good to sit down face to face and talk through things, and I think it was productive, so we'll see about that. Consent agenda.
It is ordered to approve the consent agenda for the April 25th, 2022 McCracken County Fiscal Court.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Budget transfers.
It is ordered that the necessary cash transfers in the amount of $555,000 be made in order to pay county bills and payroll approved April 25th, 2022.
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Accounts payable.
It is ordered to approve the vouchers claims register from April 11th, 2022 to April 25th, 2022 to show county bills in the amount of $286,214.73 were paid.
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right. Item 4, tabled from previous meeting. Is there a motion to remove item A from the table?
I think I would make such a motion to remove item A from the floor because I think it's going to be handled in item 5C.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Yeah, I guess it is. It's essentially 5C, isn't it?
I understood, sir, that there were 2 separate orders that were required, but I believe the treasurer has more information.
Oh, okay.
Well, A is the annual order setting the county attorney's salary that he submits each year. The C order is the order by statute where you're setting the salary for that position for a 4-year term.
Okay. But the question's essentially the same for both. It's just 2 different orders.
It is, but I think you still have to have some action on A. You moved it from the table, but I think you still have to have action on it.
Okay.
All right, so you need it.
Well, we'll take action on when we do C, won't we? Won't we?
I believe procedurally, both orders are required.
Well, then I move to bring item 4 4A backup.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll just address them separately then. That way we know we've got it. So, we read the order.
Would I need a second
Second.
on the motion to bring it back to the
Oh.
table?
Second.
I thought we did that already. Did we not? Okay, we got a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
All right, so
That carries.
now
Now
we're
I can
discussing
read.
what.
Yes,
now
now
we're
I can
discussing
read.
what, okay, all right.
It is hereby ordered that pursuant to the monetary reimbursement restrictions and calculations set forth in Section 246 of the Kentucky Constitution and KRS Sections 15.765 and 64.530, the salary of the McCracken County Attorney is hereby adjusted to $56,145.75. The present adjustment is conducted according to the conventional application of the Consumer Price Index as adopted by the courts in Coleman v. Hurst, 11 Southwest 2nd, 133, Kentucky, 1928, and Matthews v. Allen, 360 Southwest 2nd, 135, Kentucky, 1962, as communicated by January 26, 2022 correspondence from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Office of the Governor, Department of Local Government. This amount is subject to all legal deductions and further orders of the court. This amount shall be retroactive to January 1, 2022.
Okay. Now,
Now we would need a motion and second to open this up for discussion.
So made.
I'll second for discussion.
All right.
So I guess our options, we can either vote no, or we can amend it to the same number we're going to put on 5C.
I think you need to do that.
Amended?
So the same thing, let them
Yeah.
both say.
Well, the number on C is the same as this.
Well, but we're amending, I'm planning to to amend 5C.
Okay.
So I will move the number in 4A, amend the words 50, or the numbers 56,145.75 to 54,454.66.
Okay, is there a second on the amendment?
I believe that may not be a correct.
I don't have my paper. Mr. Bartle, can you give me that paper back?
That's-
You think that's not the right number?
Are we giving, I think I calculated up there with 3. Are we getting 3%? Is that what we're going?
Oh, 52. So I changed my amendment to 52,454.66.
52,454.66. So that's the motion to amend A to that number.
Yeah, I wrote 52 in one spot and wrote 54 in the other. Right.
Okay. Is there a second on the amendment?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? We're good, all good on amending the number then.
You good with that number, Pam?
Yes, sir.
Now that's right.
And that's
Right.
the same rate of pay that exists
Correct.
today, right, currently? Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
Now we need a vote, sir, on the original motion.
Okay.
Now we have to vote on the
amended 4.
That was involved in the amendment, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so, now on the on the motion as amended, the motion, that,
We have a motion and a second. We just need a vote, sir.
okay, all right. Discussion on that? No discussion? Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, B.
It is ordered that the bid of Guardian RFID for the RFID scanning system for the McCracken County Jail is accepted and awarded. Said bid was in the amount of $58,667.60 plus installation and annual maintenance.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept it for discussion. I don't see our jailer here, so
Well,
I thought this was staying on the table until.
that's what I thought. We don't have any more information.
As a point, I don't know what it's called, but I believe the ball rests in the county attorney's. He is reviewing this contract. I don't know if he has completed his review.
I did. I submitted a review and some suggestions as to the modifications to that contract to make it a little bit more friendly to the county. And at this point, it's my understanding that David is in communications with the vendor, trying to implement the recommendations that I suggested.
All right.
So we probably
Yeah,
just-
these are all still under the title of tabled from previous meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
All
I
these
believe someone would need to make a motion to continue the table to a specific date or just let it remain on the table.
Yeah, is such motion to let it remain on the table.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? Favor aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. That carries. Then we got C. Do we want to?
It is ordered to pay the invoice dated February 17th, 2022 to CMT for airport sanitary sewer extension in the amount of $20,000, $467.50. This amount is 1/2 of the total invoice of $40,935 and is pursuant to the interlocal cooperation agreement dated August 28, 2021 between City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken, Kentucky, and the Barkley Regional Airport Authority.
Now that's the, Dennis Rouleau wants to address us on this, but he has a board meeting this evening. I would recommend that we table that to the end of the meeting, and we think he may be here by then. We can hear from him on that.
Just pass it to the end of the meeting, sir.
Table it to the end of the meeting, yes.
Pass it, please.
But same with D. It's also airport.
Yep. Yeah, so on both of them, just,
I don't think we have to read them to do that.
I
no,
won't.
Okay.
no. Okay.
You got D also.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Court orders.
It is ordered that the coroner's salary is increased to the sum of $6,259.67 per month, $75,116.08 annually, less statutory deductions. This is pursuant to KRS 64.530 subsection 3, which requires that the monthly compensation of county officers, except the judge executive, the county clerk, the jailer, and the sheriff, as set out in KRS 64.535, elected by popular vote and including the county attorney, the salary of the officer and of his deputies and assistants shall be fixed by the fiscal court not later than the first Monday in May in the year in which the officers are elected, May 2nd of 2022.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is this a 3% increase? Because the number you have on C is more than a 3% increase. The number you have on C is about a 6 or a 7% increase. And I don't think that's a 3%.
The number
Well-
on C comes from a calculation the county attorney does.
We're going to amend
It's
C.
the same, it's the same number that was submitted earlier,
That's
so
that same number.
that's a calculation that comes from him.
But you're sure, what's the base salary right now of the coroner?
60.
I don't know right off, but I did 3% and added to it.
Okay. But you did, but the.
But I didn't do the county attorney's number.
Okay,
I did not calculate that.
okay. So there's no doubt that's the 3%. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
And this appears to be consistent with what we're going to do with all the other county employees, is we're going to give a 3% COLA. I think we've got enough money to do that, and that's what the city has done as well.
Well, that's the number we plugged in for calculations purposes, see what impact it'd have on our budget overall. We've got to plug a number in to start the calculation somewhere. And so if
So
these
the
go
coroner-
through, I suspect all the others will.
The coroner salary present is $72,928.18. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Trustee over here.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Okay.
It is ordered that the salary of the McCracken County Commissioners is increased to the sum of $2,341.08 per month, $28,093 annually, less statutory deductions. This is pursuant to KRS 64.530 subsection 3, which requires that the monthly compensation of county officers, except the judge executive, the county clerk, the jailer, and the sheriff, as set out in KRS 64.535, elected by popular vote and including the county attorney. The salary of the officer and of his deputies and assistants shall be fixed by the fiscal court not later than the first Monday in May in the year in which the officers are elected, May 2nd of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is the same 3%
Yep.
that we're giving to everybody else.
Right. So, and I
So
guess just,
this is a COLA, it's not a raise, it's a cost of living adjustment,
yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And of course, the actual consumer price index that determines the cost of living adjustment is in the, 7.98? I forget.
It's
Federal,
7.
7 is what the state set.
7's the state.
That's
The
what,
Federal was,
It was
that's
8.
7.9 or 8.
it's a fluctuating number for the federal.
But this 3% we're planning on giving to all of our employees in the courthouse, correct?
Well, that's the tenor right now. That's the number we've been using.
Okay.
If there's some doubt about that, maybe we need to discuss that in general, because we're going down the road of giving 3%. What the justification or the reasoning would be behind not giving it to the others.
So the only ones that I'll have reservation on are those, we've got a few whose salary comes to two buckets, some from the state, some from the county. And if they're getting a 7 or 8% from their state bucket, then it would probably not be fair to give them a 3% in their county bucket, because they'll get more than everybody else. So with that caveat.
Y'all double dipping.
Well, it's not double dipping, it just, they get paid from two different sources, and to be fair in their salary evaluation, we need to compare the total.
Any other discussion?
Is this salary take effect July 1st, or is it retroactive to January 1st?
What did it say? Did it say the other one was retroactive? Wasn't
It doesn't say, but what you're setting there is you're setting the salary for the position for the next
Yeah, that's
election
right. Okay.
year.
Yeah.
So the next 4 years of that elected
Right.
officials'
Okay.
salary. So
But it takes effect in January.
I think when that person would take office, that's when it would take effect.
Yeah. This coming January.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the salary of the county attorney is increased to the sum of $4,678.81 per month, $56,145.75 annually, less statutory deductions. This is pursuant to KRS 64.530 subsection 3, which requires that the monthly compensation of county officers, except the judge executive, the county clerk, the jailer, and the sheriff, as set out in KRS 64.535, elected by popular vote and including the county attorney, the salary of the officer and of his deputies and assistants shall be fixed by the fiscal court not later than the first Monday in May in the year in which the officers are elected, May 2nd of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to make an amendment.
All
The
right.
amendment would be to change the word increase to the word set, to change the figure $4,678.81 to $4,371.22, and to change the figure $56,145.75 to $52,454.66.
That also is 3%, right?
That does not have 3%. That has no percent because this is one of the employees that's getting the 8% on their state side.
So it's 7% on the state side, 8% on the federal.
7, 8.
3.5,
I don't.
still about the same.
Okay. So the motion is to amend.
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on the
Is
amendment?
there a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, then, as to the amended, motion as amended.
My light bulb just went off. I figured, I now understand what we're doing. I didn't earlier. And these salaries go into effect January 1st of 2023.
Yep.
All of these, right? The last three we did.
Right.
Okay. All right. So it does not affect, this does not affect our salary right now.
Correct.
All right.
Right. Okay. All right. I now see what we're doing.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
And that vote was on the original motion, right? Because
Oh.
you've now voted twice, so I'm assuming the first one was to amend it, and then that one
Yeah.
you just did was
Right.
the original motion.
Yes, ma'am.
It is ordered that the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget of the Sports Tourism Commission is approved.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
We got
Jim here.
Want to talk to us, Jim?
I sure will.
We need like a detailed line item, you know.
Especially after you guys gave me that 3% raise, I really appreciate that.
3% of nothing, brother.
You know, we're just gonna go with it, so. Yeah, Steve told me y'all wanted me to come by and just discuss our budget for the fiscal year. We kept it pretty similar to where we're at from last year. I'll kind of go through it, just a couple things for you guys. Transit room tax, we expect about 1.2 million this year, not billion. Billion would be great. Let's maybe in the future one day, but 1.2 million. So that's a little bit of an increase. Steve just kind of took our rolling average for the last 12 months to figure out that number. We have about 1.8 million in surplus from previous year, so that gives us a revenue of about 3 million for the year. Expenses are about the same. We've got about 5,000 set aside for travel. That's for when, like next week, I'm going to Dallas for a sports ETA symposium. We go to conferences and stuff like that. As you guys know from our previous conversations, you've got to start selling these complexes before they're ready. So we're going to those complexes. Our management group's always there. So it gives us the opportunity to meet with people who may be interested in bringing, potential tournaments down the road at our complex. Other costs, insurance, KCO and bonds, chamber membership, team sports associations with some of those organizations like Sports ETA, Team Kentucky. And outside of that, the big difference this year is obviously the sports facility management contract. We're starting to pay that. I know part of that interlocal agreement is we may potentially be reimbursed for some of that, but we're making those monthly payments right now. So that's $636,000 in the budget for this year. And legal services, obviously, can you do that? And then $5,000 for marketing, branding, and website. That $5,000 could potentially go away because that could be part of our sports management contract. So we haven't gotten that piece of talks with them, know exactly what they're going to cover on that piece. Once we know that, we'll be able to kind of gauge that price better. So total expenses is about $687,000 for the year. Any questions on that, or?
So I get a lot of questions since we had our discussion about marathon and where we might be in that discussion. And if we were to decide to do a marathon, it would come out of the 900 contingency.
It would, or we could, have a special meeting and amend the budget for something like that. Kind of like we talked about. We'll see that pro forma, see what that cost is, and kind of go from there.
Anything else, Jim?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
They look good. Of course, we've been working, several people, a whole lot with Steve Irvin and Steve Doolittle And then we've had some input on the interlocal agreement. We've been sort of trying to manage and get a handle on, and it's been sent now. What we think the ILA should be, been sent to the city to get their thoughts on it, so that there's not so much going back and forth and duplication, trying to be efficient about it, get it sort of where we believe, the county believes that it's fair to both, well, all three parties, three parties, county, city, sports, tourism commission, and we sent it to them. They'll tweak, make some suggestions to us, and hopefully we can get that hammered out pretty well in a fairly short order, and be off and running.
Hey, Judge, real quick, sorry to interrupt, but we anticipate with the sports management company that from the time that interlocal agreement signed, about 2 years, you expect that complex to be built.
Okay.
So it's about 6 months of construction documents and then the actual construction of the complex.
Yeah. Okay.
Breaking ground this time next year?
Depends on once the interlocal agreement signed and we get the construction documents. I mean, potentially this fall, and obviously weather doesn't dictate a lot of that.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yep.
All right, let's see, where are we?
I guess we didn't
Need a
vote.
vote.
Oh, yeah. So, did we do the motion in second? All right.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no other discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right. E,
It is ordered that a bid opening was held at 1:35 p.m. on April 14, 2022 at the McCracken County Sheriff's Department for one 2022 Dodge Durango Pursuit all-wheel drive WDEE 75 vehicle to be equipped with preferred package 2BZ, engine code ERC 3.6 liter V6, and paint code PW7 white knuckle clear coat. One bid was received, that being from Linwood of Paducah, Kentucky, in the amount of $34,150.
So move.
Second.
white knuckle clear coat. That's the preferred package. That's the hold on, here we go. How come we're getting white?
That's all they had.
It's all they had. So we're gonna have to, what are you gonna do? You gonna paint it?
Black transport vehicle that we're gonna swap that out with, that we just purchased recently new and
Oh,
wrap it.
oh, okay. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the bid for a 2022 Dodge Durango Pursuit all-wheel drive WDEE 75 vehicle to be equipped with preferred package 2BZ, engine code ERC 3.6 liter V6, and paint code PW7 white knuckle clear coat is awarded to Linwood of Paducah. Said bid amount was $34,150. This vehicle replaces a vehicle that was totaled.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I've got a question. Steve, the insurance will pay the total cost, or how much of the cost of replacement cost?
We haven't gotten the insurance check yet, but I believe it's more than.
It was 34 and change, as I recall. Do you remember the exact number? Yeah. Got an email from the.
And will
From the
the
insurance
equipment
company.
that's on the wrecked vehicle be put on this one?
Yes, because it's Durango to Durango.
Okay. And the other one was what, about a year and a half old?
It was a 2019 model, I believe, is the one that was
And
in
under
the
our
accident.
insurance program, if it's less than 2 years old, they replace the total cost of it, is that right?
That's correct.
So this is.
But what's happening is CAECO has been adjusting the value of used cars. So they're going out and appraising this as what would this value of this car be, not when we bought it, but what it's worth today and in the open market. And so cars that we buy quite cheaply on government contracting, even 2 years later, we're getting full value out of them.
And is this the one that was rear-ended near
This
Lord's
was the
Hospital?
officer who was stopped at a red light and was
Was that
rear-ended.
near Lord's Hospital?
Yep. On Lone Oak Road, yep.
That reminds me of a comedian that says sometimes you got to wreck the car to make the truck payment.
No, Eddie.
But essentially, we're not getting hurt in this deal.
maybe we can go wreck a couple more and get a new car. Thank you.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the treasurer is authorized to execute the on-site service agreement with health and wellness professionals for biometric screening events and pay travel fees of $60 per medical technician up to $180.
So made.
Second.
All in favor-
What is this? Is this for the jail?
No, this is for our biometric screening for our employees that we
Okay.
do every year.
Okay.
We have to pay for them to travel and come do it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that Dr. Irvin Smith is appointed to the Lone Oak Fire Department Board to complete the term of Dennis Cathy, deceased, which term will expire on June 30th, 2025, subject to further orders of the court.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I was with him this afternoon. I thought he might be here. Gosh, we're lucky to have him. I was with him together today. He's on the 911 committee, and he adds a lot to that committee.
Yeah, he's strong. He's been on the fire forward, for many years. I don't know how many. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. So we don't, Dr. Smith, he thought he might come, but he's not going to make it. We have him maybe next time.
Yeah, well, he's going to be here. I think we've asked to be on your agenda if you'll let us in 2 weeks, because we have a report on the 911 committee that we've been asked to make to you.
Okay. And Dennis Rouleau's probably hung up in his, I understand their board meetings generally go 2 hours.
He just texted and said they just got done. Should I tell him to come on?
I think we take a break and let him come.
15, 20 minutes to get here.
He's out the airport for the board meeting.
Take a 15-minute
Yeah,
break.
what do you think?
It's up to y'all.
I think we take a break and let him come on.
Okay,
that's
there's a
up to y'all.
motion to recess for 15 minutes. Let him get in.
All right.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, recess for 15 or as soon as he gets here.
You going to eat your Reese's?
let's call me order. 3 minutes till 6. And Dennis Reload here. Dennis, come on, please. Yes, let's do the ordinance.
In order to avoid it is 22 secondary search out of $20,50. This amount is a total invoice of $40,005 and is pursuant to the interlocal cooperation agreement dated August 28, 2021 between City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken County, Kentucky, and the Berkeley Regional Airport Authority.
Okay. Motion.
So made.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Can we just go and hear from Dennis and then we discuss? That's suitable? Okay. What about Dennis?
I'm sorry?
About the 40, this would be half of the 40,000, and just fill in for us what that is.
So that is for the design of the sanitary sewer line.
Okay.
Well, I think we wanted to talk to you about something bigger and broader. I don't care to start, but I think what we're interested in is knowing, first of all, I'm going to vote to approve this. We've signed a contract to do so. And in fact, I think it's actually engineering on a sewer line that I'd actually asked and was an advocate for.
Right.
All that being said, we have some interest in, and I'm just going to give the background, if you don't mind, a little bit, so that in the event whoever's watching this understands why we're having this discussion. On January 10th, Governor Andy Brashear reached out to County Judge Craig Clymer regarding what assistance the county could use in the budget he was going to proffer to the General Assembly. There was a discussion between the county judge and the governor, and I don't want to put words in the county judge's mouth, but I think what he said is, you know what, yes, we could use some help. There's this $6 million that our community is having to pay that we've committed to, $3 million from the city, $3 million from the county. And we're doing it so that we get this federal grant because it makes sense and nobody else has taken the lead to do this, so we've done it. But it's a regional airport. Lots of counties use it. And it's perhaps unfair for one county and one city to be asked to carry the cross of this match instead of the region. And that made sense to the county judge and it made sense to the governor. And the next day the governor proposed to the General Assembly a budget which would have included, basically, would have taken away the burden of the city of Paducah to borrow $3 million for the airport and would have taken away the burden of the county to borrow $3 million for the airport, which excited me because I sit on a 911 committee and we're trying to figure out how to solve a true crisis with 911. And so I was excited to hear this possibility. After that happens, local leaders start meeting with the legislative team that goes to Frankfurt, went to Frankfurt. And they were initially pessimistic, but interested in advocacy arguments. Somewhere during that process around February, it was at least communicated to me that, well, you might get half. I think one of the legislators said, we want the county and the city to have skin in the game, which I thought was ironic since there's 1,000 acres from McCracken County that supports the airport, and I think we subsidize the airport between the city and county about $400,000 a year. And that sounds like skin in the game, but all right, whatever. All right, well, if we get half, we get half. We'll have $3 million we can put to 911. And then on March 30th, I was overjoyed to hear that morning that it sounded like we were going to get $6 million. And by the time I walked into Rotary, and I walked in, ironically, with Kevin Caulfield, who's the chair of the 911 committee, and it was just complete depression on my part because what I learned is that the money that had been appropriated was put in a bucket, if you will, restricted funds that almost specifically was designed so that the city and the county still have to borrow their $6 million, and we're going to give 5.4 for something extra. That was news to me because I didn't realize that anyone in our community was actually advocating for anything extra. And to be honest with you, that was a little frustrating. However, I do want you to know how proud I am that you're here and what a great job you're doing with the airport. And I don't want it to be misinterpreted. I mean, I said this earlier in the conversation today. You know, we've got Bruce Wilcox and you and Tim at the Riverport.
Tim Cahill, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we could have put three people together better and working better together. So I don't want you to take this as personal criticism to you. Obviously, I'm concerned. We have a statutory duty, KRS 67.080, to regulate and control the fiscal affairs of the county and to investigate all activities of the county government. You can imagine my disappointment thinking that we had done something that was going to actually make the cost of government cheaper on McCracken County and the city of Paducah, and then within just a matter of hours learned that no, we're actually going to make it cost more. And I realize all things airport are good, and what I mean by that is there's probably a great return of investment on any money we put at the airport. And so I'm not saying this is, somebody asked me earlier today, well, can't you just be happy you got 5.4 million? And I am. I mean, you know, if those were the options. But I'm distraught that I've still got to deal with a 911 user fee when I thought for a minute we wouldn't, and I'm distraught that we it appears that there were competitive asks going on at the same time. I don't know how competitive. I don't know if this can be simply explained as one senator did not want to relieve the city and the county of the obligation to borrow $6 million, or if it's one senator and a legislative team didn't want to agree with the governor who wanted to do something for the community, or maybe they had something else, some additional information that makes it absolutely look brilliant to me, and I don't have to have any more questions. So I guess that's what I'm interested in. Is there something I don't know that makes this restricting funding a wonderful idea for our community over and above the 911 need? It's a complicated question. But and let me say this.
I don't think it's fair to be asking me these questions. I think they're more appropriate to the legislators themselves on the thought process that went through to allocate the money. You know, as it's I've only been in Kentucky less than 3 years, and but it's no different than any other state or even the federal government. You know, it's in the sausage making process. You know, I got excited about the $6 million too, because we were the only airport that was named in that. And that's amazing. You know, it's amazing information that we were the only airport in the whole budget, and the governor mentioned our name. You know, early on we asked for 10 million, but we only got 5.
Right.
And then the cost of the project went up a little bit, and so, you know, we needed to ask the city and county for 5.6 million. Let's just call it 6 million. And you know, but I think your questions should be directed to the legislators, not necessarily to me.
Well, let me ask you this, because you sent me an email of the 3 things, and just so we're clear, there were 3 priorities that you sent me. One dealt with an aviation fuel storage tank. That's right. 1.2 million. A runway extension is a 2.1 million of a $21 million grant.
Right.
And a $2.25 million for aging sanitation sewer processing plant.
Right.
I can tell you, you know, I've sat on a local leaders committee on the airport for 3 years. I think I was attending that meeting even before I began to serve office, I'd never heard of these projects. It's always been, we got to have this match, we got to have this match.
So there's so that's just the first three items of the list of projects that I've been working on. Okay, and from what I understand, the first three items are part of that 5.3. But if you add up my list, it's 5.5 million, and what's being presented, it's my understanding it's those three projects. That's why I included those. So the aging fuel storage tanks, our tanks are old, and they need to be upgraded. We had a couple of situations where we almost ran out of fuel this summer or this fall because of our storage tanks. They need to be upgraded. They don't meet OSHA requirements. You know, there's a lot of things on the airport that have been that need attention.
I got to believe all these things would have a return of investment.
Right.
Obviously, I'm also very familiar with the problems we've got with the 911 system.
Right.
So I guess my question then might be more precisely is, how did this list get communicated to the county judge? Did this list get communicated to the mayor? Did it get communicated to the chamber? Did it get communicated to the Senate?
Well, I know a number of those items, if not maybe a few more of those items, have been communicated to the Purchase Area Development District, and I've also communicated those items with the FAA. There are certain things the FAA will not pay for, so I have to seek other funding sources as well. And so I was asked by the legislators to provide a list of projects that I need. In fact,
was this after the governor's proposal?
Well, no, it was before, and pardon me, I don't remember his name with the legislature, but he was in charge, I think, of the AR committee. None of our local ones. He was a Republican, and he asked all airports. He sent out a broadcast list to come up with a list of items because there was a number of things going on at the state level. There was talk about taking half of the tax money, the jet fuel tax money, and giving it to all the air carrier airports, like Lexington, Louisville, Owensboro, Barkley, and I think East Kentucky University and Cincinnati, and you know, and then we were going to get like Barkley was supposed to get like $500,000 a year, you know, to go towards the operation of the fund. So there was that effort going on.
So you had your regular, current information you were having with the chairman of the AR committee.
No, it's not regular. He recognized there was a need for airports out there. So I'm sorry, I don't have his name off the top of my head.
I know exactly what you're talking. He's from Todd County, and I can't recall his name either. I'm sorry, I can't help you. He's a nice guy, and he's a lawyer.
Yeah, I think they're all lawyers.
Both things.
Yeah, both things.
And so there was that. Okay, there was that effort, and then there was an effort going on about taking tax revenue, the jet fuel tax revenue, and it was going to be capped, and then the rest of the half would go to the rest of the airports in the state system. So there was that effort going on, and then we had our own needs going on because I had to figure out a way to. Within that list, there's FBO renovations because the FBO needs to be renovated because I joke, you know, it still has Miami Vice theme inside the FBO, and so that renovation is probably a 1.2 million, and then the runway needs to be rehabbed, and so part of project number 2 on that list is the matching funds, which is 2.1 million. That I need to come up with that, and the sanitary line. I think there's some confusion about the sanitary line. I listened to the previous meeting. So within the terminal project, there's roughly a mile-long sanitary sewer line that's going from the new terminal to what I call the package plant out front of JP's house. And what's in this ordinance and agreement is to pay for the design of that sanitary sewer. That's what's before you right now of going from the package plant to where we can hook up to JSA. Originally, we were supposed to go all the way to the high school. And so we redesigned it and come up with a better way, a cheaper way to do it. And one that makes sense for not only the airport, but for JSA as well. We're going to be using primarily all of existing right-of-way.
We're going to follow the road as opposed to following the creek.
Yeah, right. And we're not having to go through a...
which is better for economic development,
yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. And so we're always going to partner with JSA. There was always going to be... the original plan was the FAA was going to help pay for it, and the difference, the upsizing was going to be borne by JSA. Outside of the airport, any additional upsizing of the line. Well, the FAA has backed away from that. They don't want to pay for the line. They only want to pay for a portion that's on the airport property, and no other hangars and so forth can tap into that line. And so I put in the purchase area development district. I put in a priority list, and those same items are on that list. So I guess to answer your question, I was approached and asked to come up with a list, and I already had it.
And were you approached by Senator Danny Carroll or by somebody else on the legislative team?
I believe it was, I have to go back, but I believe it was Senator Carroll.
Would all of your communications been by email? You would have attached something and sent it?
Yeah.
Can I ask
Sure.
a question? Were you told to leave the terminal construction out of that list?
No?
The terminal was like number 4 or 5 or something, wasn't it?
On that, on my priority list?
Yeah. Wasn't there?
No. If you read into that, it's for the demolition of the old terminal.
No.
I need find grant money to demolish the old terminal so I can make way for an air cargo facility that I'd like to put out there. And just for the record, when you mentioned it called expansion or extension of the runway, it's not the extension. It's just it should have been labeled rehab. It is labeled extension, but it's not. We're not extending the runway. We're just rehabilitating it.
Well, I think everything that Commissioner Jones said is accurate.
You do or don't?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
My mother do that.
And so, what's frustrating to us is most anybody that's paid any attention knows we've been in a real financial hole for several years. We've made some adjustments. We've raised some revenue to try to pull us up out of this financial hole. We're now, at least some people who don't know what they're talking about, claim that that was the wrong thing to do. But we are now gaining ground and making positive changes. We're now solvent. We're now able to start looking at developing the county and doing more things. And so when we did commit $3 million from the city, $3 million from the county, $6 million for airport terminal construction, because we had to have that money, and the state said we're not going to put more than the $5 million that they put in. So we need an airport. We got 90% of it federal money. We're not going to say no. Not going to put our $3 million from the county. Not going to put. I can't speak for the city, but the same reasoning they threw in for the 6. And then, just as Commissioner Jones says, the governor calls me, whatever date you said that was, I guess that's right. He calls me and says, hey, I want to see if there's anything we can do down there for the airport. And I said, yeah, we are bleeding out here trying to do things in McCracken County, and it's difficult for the county to put $3 million, half of the six, into the airport, but we've done that. But if you could put in your budget from the state, $6 million, relieve the county, cover the city on that too, and relieve the city of putting the $3 million in, we can put it into our 911 system. It go a long way to repairing that, and that's essential emergency communications. It's a big deal, and we've got to address that too. And he said, "Okay, I'll do it." And he asked me to make a little 30-second commercial that he presented it out, and some other leaders in other communities did too. Of the governor's going to help us, and I don't know. I mean, it was. Anybody wants to give me $3 million, I'll make you a commercial, and it'd be worth every penny of it.
That's right.
So, but seriously, he said he put it in his budget. I think it's like he's saying, okay, this community going to get $6 million freed up that we can do other things with. Well, then the $6 million that he put in for the terminal, then the legislature takes that through whatever process and says, not for the terminal, we're going to put it into other projects at the airport. So we're back in the hole again for the $3 million and $3 million from the city, and we don't have that money there. And so my hope is that perhaps, I don't know how strict that is, and of course it's not anything you can do. It's maybe we can work on trying to see if we can get that money back where it's really needed right now in the airport terminal construction, and not on these other things. It appeared as a rather a sleight of hand, frankly, to take that money from airport construction and terminal construction and put it over here on other things that I didn't know anything about.
Right.
And so that's the frustration. In the future, those are all, I think, off in the future further, I believe. And as we grow our economy in this county, we'll be better able at some point to fund those things. But right now, the dire need, and the governor recognized the dire need, was to put it toward the terminal. That got shifted over to something that I don't think any of us knew anything about, and by a process that we didn't know anything about either. So
Process that seemed to stay quite secret until the announcement. Secrecy bothers me a little bit.
We were not contacted for any input on that.
Yeah, part of what bothers me is somewhere in this game I was outsmarted, and that makes me mad. But
We all were.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I wanted to
So
comment.
this,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, this doesn't help things, but I just want to make you aware that it was actually Commissioner Bartleman that called me and asked me about the infrastructure bill that's out there, and there's money set aside for terminal construction. So I looked into it, and we've actually filed an application for the $6 million part of the city and county.
All right, I'm excited. Say that one more time.
So the infrastructure bill, the portion with the FAA,
federal.
federal. This is federal dollars, and so out of that, there's supposed to be $5 billion a year. Part of that, $1 billion, is supposed to be going towards terminal construction, and so we we filled out an application. Doesn't mean that we're going to get it, but we filled out an application to fill that $6 million gap. So we've done it. We've done it. We met the deadline, and we have submitted a grant.
Who's the decider of that grant?
What's federal? It's federal. So FAA and
I think Department of Transportation decides on that.
That Secretary Buttigieg, I guess, maybe his people.
well, I would utilize the same resources that we all have used before.
It worked out so well for us.
Well, in the state, I mean, in the federal.
What, if you use it to chamber again?
No, I'm talking.
Okay.
Well,
I want to comment if I could too. I think there seemed to be a misconception of the legislators exactly what we were committed to in the airport project. We were committed to our share would be up to $3 million to meet any shortfall there was in funding for that project. And we were assured that when we made that commitment that there were other efforts being made for other grants that would come, other federal grants, state grants, just anything that would come along. And the comment was made that we probably would have to put less than that in because there were other grant opportunities would come up. And this was one of those grant opportunities. And quite frankly, we thought...
which one, the bill grant?
No, the state grant. The state grant was one of those opportunities, and the bill grant, the infrastructure grant money, I mean, that came along later. We didn't know that at the time, so we're hoping that maybe those funds will come. That's a competitive grant. We're hoping some of those funds will come to help reduce our commitment. But we were not committed to writing a check for $3 million. We were committed to writing a check for whatever the shortfall was after there was a local fundraising and after there were other grants that came in. And I assume you've tried other grants, and I wish that the money from the state would have included at least some funding for the terminal project.
So we exhausted, I think, all the opportunities that I knew were out there, including the pad. You know, we thank you for PACRO. We had $80,000. That was the first part of the money. The nonprofit BBSA was going to initially was an effort to start raising money for the terminal part, but then during the process of the nonprofit's effort, you know, all the donors were saying they're not, you know, it's a government responsibility, not a donor responsibility, and they were more interested in supplying money for air service development. So we tried that effort. We tried the PAD, Purchase Area Development District, and I know we tried a lot, and that was one of the reasons why we hired, CMT and Bacon Farmer Workman, because they have grant administrators, people that go out there, very talented people that used to work for the city to help and hunt for grants. And like I said, we asked the governor initially for, and I don't want to appear that I'm not grateful, but we asked for 10 and we got 5, and then he came through with 6, but that went through the sausage making process.
In fairness to both parties, both candidates were here, the Republican and the Democrat, and they both committed to 5, and then the Democrat won.
Well, one was 10, one was 5.
Okay, all right. In any event, everybody was committing at that point.
Yes.
But I guess you're right.
Yes.
We felt, Commissioner Jones and I, we spent a couple days in Frankfurt. There was a legislative thing that went on. We went up a couple days early and lobbied for this. I guess we came back thinking that probably we'd be able to get $3 million for the terminal total, and that would cut in half each of what the city and the county had to pay. I've read through the budget. The budget does not specify exactly how these funds should be used at the airport. And there's nothing in law that says it has to be used for anything specific. And I'm hoping that if that's correct, that maybe we can use $3 million of that to help fund the airport terminal, and then use the rest for those other important projects to help fund some of those. So I'm hoping that we're able to do that. And as you said, there's the infrastructure grants. There's 3 different areas that are in there for airports, and I think you told me that you have submitted a $5 to $6 million application for the terminal, and I think that's a 5% match. So it would be good if we had that.
I think it's 10%.
Pardon me?
I believe it's 10% match.
Well, I read something on what I got from NACO, and I think it was 5.
If it's 5, great.
It doesn't
It's
matter, whatever it is, 5 or 10%,
Right.
if we can get 5 or 6 million. And then there's also money in there for control tower funds, which I think he indicated there might be some success
We're getting a new control tower.
in that. And yeah,
By the way, I've been contacted. We're going to be getting a new control tower.
and I don't.
That's a big deal. What's that get?
I mean, it's good we're getting that, but the control tower we have now has only been open for 18 months.
But we're getting funding for a new control tower.
And I don't understand that. And then there was money for, according to what I got out of, when I researched it, there was a $5 billion in for airport terminal program. There's a 5% match. There was infrastructure grants to do taxiways, safety, and things like that in the infrastructure bill. And then other money
Right.
for the tower program.
So, and then we put in another application for, and again, using the terminal money to extend the, I don't want to bore you, but to extend the interior access road from where it ends at the existing terminal to go around the runway to service the new terminal. This way, fuel trucks don't have to cross an active runway to get to the, it's a safety apply
And that's in the infrastructure grant program too, correct, right? I think there's
Right, we're applying for the terminal part of it.
Right.
Because it's related to the terminal project.
So the
We don't
money
know
would
if
not
we'd
be used for
successful
terminal
or not.
construction, it'd be used for road construction. The grant you've applied.
Right, where it's all on how you label it and how you present it. And we're presenting it to be part of the terminal improvement because when, and this goes back when we first started the program, the EAS, the environmental study that we'd done, there was some things that were missing when we started the terminal project. And one of them was the sanitary line wasn't part of the EAS, and the relocation of the ASOS wasn't on the environmental assessment, so we had to amend it. And also there wasn't a service road that was included in there. So we had to go back in and do an amendment to the environmental assessment to include the ASOS and the sanitary line, and also the utilities. Utilities weren't in there, and I mean, I need gas, electric, and sewer to run the terminal. So we went in and fixed that.
So there's, as I understand from the research I've done, I got some information from National Association of Counties, there's 3 different programs for airports in the infrastructure bill. One of them is the control tower, which
We're one of 30, out of the 5-year period, we're building 30 new control towers, and we're one of that 30 in the entire country.
Then there's another one, it's called Airport Infrastructure Grants. That's a formula funding thing, and it includes terminal, airport transient connections and roadway projects, which I don't know if that's where you applied for the roadway. And then there's another one that's airport terminal, that's $5 billion, 5% match.
Right.
And is that what you're going to use to do the road project, the road construction?
The terminal?
Yeah.
No,
Or for actual, have you applied for money for the actual terminal construction?
yes.
So if we get that, if you were to get a $5 million grant or $6 million grant from the federal infrastructure program, that would reduce our liability. Is that what you're
Yes.
telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the new grant you just,
Okay.
I just recently applied for it. So if we're successful in getting that,
When do you think when do you anticipate a decision on the window?
it's a new program, and it's the first year of a 5-year program. It's new. Hopefully I'll hear something, and it's for this fiscal year, federal fiscal year, which ends September 30th. So I hope to hear something. If they do it like they normally do it, like I probably won't hear until July, August, probably August.
I think originally that's what they said it would be by July or August. It'd be in this fiscal year, so we would know.
Yeah.
It would be great. I mean, I think our argument for why we shouldn't be carrying this burden, that it is unfair for the city of Paducah. I'm a resident of the city of Paducah. I have to pay that tax too, and county. It is unfair for us to carry this cross for everyone else. Hopefully we can communicate that to this group, and they'll agree with us. Thank you for putting that together. We are lucky to have you, Dennis. And if I haven't said that enough, we really are. And
Yeah,
I know
I'm feeling the love here.
this is not fun to go through.
I love you, man.
Can I get an update on what's going on with the new terminal project?
Sure.
I'm going to be easy on you.
Okay. Fire away.
That makes him smile when he gets to talk about that.
You fire away. Give us an update on where we're at and the timelines.
So I think we're still on schedule for, I've been telling everyone, March of 2023. I just walked the site actually this morning with the architect and another engineer friend of mine. So if you recall in the photos, the glue lam beams, the wood beams, those are all up. And things are coming along. It's up out of the ground all the way up to the mezzanine level. It's the entrance road is already in. There's just a base course. The final lift or final asphalt won't be done until just before we open the terminal, so we have a fresh, clean road. It's all been graded. Jim Smith's contracting has started on the apron project. There's a couple of soft areas out there, but we already took care of that in a change order previously to help address some of the soft spots in the apron. And so that project's going on. I was in Minneapolis on earlier in the week, picking out the furniture for the terminal building. And one of the prerequisites is it has to be comfortable. In the many airports that I traveled last week, their airline terminal seats are not comfortable. And so they're going to be comfortable, and they're going to be durable. And you're going to be proud when the terminal opens. It's going to be a very, very nice facility. And so we've started up an ad hoc art committee. I don't know if you're aware of that. And the goal of that is to find artwork for the terminal building. We have a budget item. I don't know if you saw the Exhibit A that I provided. There's a line item in there for artwork. Roughly, there's a line item in there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? It's hard because I live this every day. So like,
one of the elements in the interlocal agreement is that we would get an update on estimates versus actual costs. Can you provide us a spreadsheet on what's been
I provided
done so far?
the latest. I provided just before I left to go to travel last week. So I provided an updated Exhibit A. Well, there was no Exhibit A. I provided an Exhibit A with that, and and the date on that is I think December. And I've asked for the engineers to update it.
So can we get a copy of that?
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I probably should correct something. I don't know that I said it, but it might have been by innuendo. I have no idea who advocated for this, or if anyone did. So I've implied that the chamber advocated against us. I don't know whether they did or not. In either way, I am happy we got $5.4 million. I wanted it in a different bucket so that we could lower the cost of government.
Right.
Because I'm deeply concerned about how we're going to be able to finance the improvements to 911, which I'm being told the improvements are a $10 to $12 million project. So that's where I'm coming from.
I think we'll be able to adjust those buckets, so I think.
Well, we're not looking at the buckets. We may move them around.
What?
So I think we can move what's in those buckets around to other buckets, I think. I hope, anyway.
And I won't ask you to answer this question tonight, but I think the question we should all be asking ourselves is, if we were doing this again, how would we do it differently so that we feel like we were all on the same page at the time. And I think that's something that whoever was involved, we need to pause for a little bit. Legislative team, us, city, chamber, and think, all right, who did we potentially ignore in this process, and why did we ignore? Because fiscal court was pretty clear what we wanted. ACRO, who as you gave credit for the first $80,000 to the airport, that's a group of counties. They saw the unfairness and the reason for our ask. So I just want us to be able to be in a position to learn from this situation and maybe make a better, more informed ask with one voice next time. Thank you.
Dennis, I appreciate you coming tonight. I had a lot of concerns, I think, from our conversation we had. You understood that I wasn't happy about some things, but you've alleviated a lot of my concerns tonight.
Yeah, I've always
appreciate your tolerance.
responded to any of your questions
Yeah.
whenever you ask me, whether I get an email or a letter or something.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right, so,
We got a vote.
yeah.
Vote.
Yep. What are we
We're on
on here?
C,
C,
sir.
yeah. All right, no further discussion on C. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered to pay the invoice dated March 23rd, 2022 to CMT for airport sanitary sewer extension in the amount of $6,082.62. This amount is one half of the total invoice of $12,165.25 and is pursuant to the interlocal cooperation agreement dated August 28, 2021 between City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken County, Kentucky, and the Barkley Regional Airport Authority.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Yeah,
Now, sir,
Yeah.
you're up to whether or not there's executive session.
I don't know we don't have any
Dennis,
executive session.
Dennis, can you hold on a minute? I want to talk to you after the meeting. I want to ask you a question after the meeting. Thank you.
Look at him run.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Carries, we're gone now. Thank you.